In Avatar: The Way of Water, Jake Sully lives with his newfound family, formed on the planet of Pandora. When a familiar threat returns to finish what was previously started, Jake must work with Neytiri and the army of the Na'vi race to protect their planet. Stay tuned and don't go away, because Avatar: The Way of Water runtime is currently over 3 hours long, plus everything to know about the long-anticipated Avatar sequel, The Way of Water, cast, release date, and more. First up, are we really surprised that Avatar: The Way of Water is currently over 3 hours long? I mean, come on, it's a James Cameron picture. Avatar: The Way of Water is finally bringing the Avatar franchise back into the mainstream consciousness after 13 years of development. The film is the long-awaited sequel to James Cameron's Avatar, which was released in 2009 and went on to become the highest-grossing movie of all time. Avatar was recently re-released in theaters and did amazingly well at the global box office, proving the franchise still has what it takes to bring in viewers. Cameron waited on making the sequel, however, in order to ensure that the technology needed to bring Pandora's oceans to life was properly developed. The Way of Water is currently running at 3 hours and 10 minutes, but the final runtime may end up being shorter. Cameron has publicly stated that the film will be a long one, but Disney might cut out some scenes and insist on a shorter runtime, and then re-release the film with the cut scenes reinserted. The Way of Water is projected to earn at least $650 million at the box office. Sure, that's an impressive number, but the original film earned $772 million at the domestic box office. The drop in performance was expected though after all. Avatar sequels need to have more compelling stories if the franchise is to continue full steam ahead. If you recall, 2009's Avatar was the highest grossing film of all time. Next up, is the new Avatar: The Way of Water footage promising audiences a spectacular visual feast? You bet. Again, we're talking about James Cameron here. Visual feats are his forte. It's what he does. I always tell people that Cameron is not simply a filmmaker, he's a cinema history maker. Every time he makes a film, he's always trying to do something groundbreaking, something that's never been done before. Most film directors just make movies. Cameron makes history. He tries to do the impossible, using the most advanced, complex tech that he can get his creative hands on. And clearly, waiting for the right technology to develop has paid off. Pandora is being brought to life in an unprecedented fashion, and Cameron, a visionary in many ways, has already succeeded in crafting a visual spectacle. Avatar: The Way of Water hits theaters near you on December 16, 2022. In a recent interview, Cameron said, "It sounds kind of nuts, the process. I mean, if Avatar hadn't made so much money, we'd never do this, because it's kind of crazy. I couldn't have said it better myself. What Cameron is and always has been doing is totally crazy." Cameron further added, "I do the ocean thing when I'm not making movies, so if I could combine my two greatest loves, one of which is ocean exploration, the other feature filmmaking, why wouldn't I?" Hey James, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because it's working. But let's turn the mic over to you, the viewers, for a second. What's your favorite James Cameron film? We love to know your thoughts, so drop those comments. Up next, how does the original Avatar prepare us for Avatar: The Way of Water? The original Avatar introduced us to the Na'vi, the people who lived in the rainforests of Pandora and were attempting to protect their home as humans invaded to mine the valuable mineral known as unobtainium. Sam Worthington's Jake Sully is a disabled Marine involved in the Avatar program, intending to make peace with the Na'vi warriors. Sully soon discovers the widespread damage that the military is causing to Pandora. Sully joins Zoe Saldana's Neytiri on a mission to expel all the humans and save the vital Tree of Souls. Sully and Neytiri are returning for Avatar 2. In fact, much of the plot will focus on their pre-teen children. Executive producer John Landau explained, "Ultimately, the sequels are a story about family and the lengths parents will go through to keep that family together and keep them safe. I always say that Jim's movies have universal themes, and really, there's no more universal theme than family. What we're doing now, from a story standpoint and a world standpoint, is on a much larger scale. That's both exciting and challenging. We're putting much more detail, first and foremost, into the performances of the cast, but we are also putting much more detail and diversity into the world that we are creating. I don't know about you, but I think the Avatar franchise is the coolest thing since sliced bread, and I can't wait to see all the sequels. Stay tuned tuned and don't go away, because we're about to reveal everything we know about the Avatar franchise. Next up, why did it take so long for Avatar: The Way of Water? We're about to find out. Remember what producer John Landau just said about putting much more detail? Well, that extra attention to detail meant that fans had to wait a long time between the first and second installments. Cameron began working on the sequel script in 2012, and Avatar 2 began shooting in 2017. As of April 2022, Cameron focused on the post-production phase, and parts of Avatar 3 were also filmed. The third Avatar film is slated for release in 2024, but let's get back to Avatar 2 for a second. Based on interviews with the cast and crew, Avatar 2 will be more than worth the wait. Back in March of 2022, Zoe Saldana gave an interview and opened up about the sequel film. Saldana said, "I can get choked up just talking about it. I was able to see just 20 minutes of the second installment right before the year ended last year, and I was speechless. I was moved to tears." Considering the lengthy runtime of the sequel film, many have wondered if Cameron is aware that modern audiences don't have the attention spans they once did. And yes, Cameron is aware. Cameron is also aware that many moviegoers will find the sequel film's lengthy runtime annoying. And frankly, he doesn't care. Cameron said, "I don't want anybody whining about length when they sit and binge watch television for 8 hours. I can almost write this part of the review. The agonizingly long 3-hour movie, it's like give me a break. I watched my kids sit and do 5 one-hour episodes in a row. Here's the big social paradigm shift that has to happen. It's okay to get up and go pee." Well said, James. Well said. Keep doing you. Up next, what did we learn from the first Avatar: The Way of Water teaser trailer? Let's take a look. The first teaser trailer for Avatar: The Way of Water dropped in May of 2022, and the clip, which featured almost no dialogue, gave us an inside look at Pandora's new water world, as well as Jake and Neytiri's family, and the frightening return of military forces, who are hell-bent on draining the world of its most vital resources once and for all. At the end of the teaser, Jake utters a single line: "I know one thing. Wherever we go, this family is our fortress." James Cameron announced the film's full title, Avatar 2: The Way of Water, at CinemaCon in April of 2022, and explained that the title is a reference to the underwater universe that is the setting of the second and third films in the franchise. Cameron will connect to his passion for ocean conservation while blending his filmmaking projects. Most of the cast will return for the long-awaited Avatar sequel, along with Worthington and Saldana. Both Worthington and Saldana signed on to all of the sequels when they made the first Avatar film, and co-stars Dileep Rao, Joel David Moore, and CCH Pounder will all reprise their roles. Surprisingly, 3 actors whose characters died in the original film, Sigourney Weaver, Stephen Lang, and Matt Gerald, are all returning to the sequel in secret roles. Finally, is it possible that Avatar 3 brings the Avatar franchise to a close? At the time of this recording, the Avatar film series is currently slated to involve 5 movies, including the original Avatar and the upcoming sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water. However, that can definitely change. James Cameron recently revealed that the 4th and 5th Avatar movies were not locked in, saying, "The market could be telling us we are done in 3 months, or we might be semi-done," meaning, okay, let's complete the story within movie 3 and not go on endlessly if it's just not profitable. And Cameron's comments make perfect sense. At the end of the day, Hollywood isn't Cameron's personal plaything. It's a business, and if the Avatar films aren't making enough money, Cameron certainly can and likely will pull the plug long before we ever get to Avatar 4 and 5. To be perfectly honest, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Cameron wraps up the franchise after Avatar 3. Are you hoping that Cameron's Avatar franchise unfolds as planned? Are you hoping to see Avatar 4 and 5? That's a wrap for today's video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and subscribe.